Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop. In this video, we're going to be talking about the best basketball shoes for guards, right? So guards tend to be a little bit quicker, a little bit shiftier, you know what I mean? Although the game of basketball, all the positions are being a little bit more blended together nowadays. I feel like if you're a little bit smaller, you have a little bit more speed. You rely on speed and you need a little bit more responsiveness and court feel and stuff like that, right? So of course, what is responsiveness? Responsiveness is if you tell a shoe to do something, it does it pretty much right away, right? So for example, like responsiveness in a suspension for a car. So if you have a suspension, you know, the spring is very, very soft. If you're trying to do a really quick turn, it's not going to be as responsive because it's going to be bouncing a lot. It's going to be very, very soft and stuff like that. Versus like a race car, the suspension is going to be a lot stiffer, which of course that kind of has to do with the cushion a little bit in a lot of the shoes, like hoop shoes. If the cushion is too soft and you're trying to do like a step back or like a really hard cut or a crossover and the cushion is just like smushing, you know what I mean? And you feel it being a little bit slow, it's not the most responsive versus something a little bit more stiff for the cushion, you know what I mean? So yeah, you want a responsive cushion, you want really good traction, you want good support, especially lateral containment because you're gonna be doing a lot of probably crossovers and cuts and stuff like that, moving around the court. And also you want something a little bit more lighter, you know, which isn't a prerequisite. You don't need to have a light shoe, but it feels a little bit nicer if it's a light shoe, you know what I mean? So I tried to divide this video into categories of like cushion, you know what I mean? Because, you know, traction of course needs to be good, support needs to be good like I said, but the cushion is where it's a little bit different for all of these shoes. So I'm gonna be dividing into like you know, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, where like tier 1 is very responsive for the cushion, tier 2 is like more, it's all around really good, and tier 3 is like a really soft cushion where it still feels really responsive for the overall shoe. It's just a soft cushion, you know what I mean? So anyways, if you guys want to get any of these shoes, I try to leave the affiliate link in the description box. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. If you do choose to get any of these shoes, it does help me out if you buy it, the shoes from the affiliate link. But let's get it started off with tier 3, and we're gonna be talking about like really soft cushions, right? So let's get it started off with the WOW 11 or the Wave Wade 11, and the traction is freaking phenomenal. You have amazing traction, one of the best tractions you get right now, right? Amazing stop, really good bite through dust as well. And also one thing that I really love about that shoe is the full-length carbon fiber plate, which makes the overall shoe like really springy, especially when you're bringing the ball down the court. It actually adds a little bit of springiness and support underneath your foot. And also the cushion is really nice. It's not too soft, of course, because I put it on this list, but it is soft. You have full length boom and you have that soft mesh strut board right underneath your foot. So you have a good amount of compression underneath your foot and bounce, which feels nice, but again, it's soft, and overall support and all that is really good. It's just a little bit like, it's not super bulky, it's not super heavy, but comparing to some of the really minimal shoes on this list, it definitely is a lot bulkier and heavier than those shoes. So just be careful with that. But other than that, WOW 11 really nice, right? Next, of course, we got the Anta Kai 1. Kai 1 also very responsive because the traction is really nice. Once you break it in, you have an amazing stop and also a very, very consistent stop. However, the cushion is extremely soft, right? So you have a good amount of compression in the heel from the actual like foam midsole, right, in the heel. And also you have a very soft mesh strut board, which makes the cushion even softer. So again, like it's not too soft and mushy feeling for me, but comparing to like a really responsive, very stiff cushion, it's very, very soft. So just be careful with that. But of course, the overall shoe is also really comfortable and cozy, especially with the extra added padding in the tongue and ankle area. But yeah, it's just a really comfortable, responsive shoe, just like the WOW 11, right? So there's that. Next, we got the New Balance Kawhi 4. Same thing. We have, I believe it was a fuel cell, right? And it has a good amount of compression in the heel, but also underfoot cushion is really soft, right? So again, just like the Kai 1, it's, I wouldn't say it's as soft as the Kai 1, but it's still like really soft, and traction is really good. Also, the lateral containment wasn't the best, but it was adequate for me. But it is a lot lighter for the overall shoe than the Kai 1. So the Kawhi 4 is still a really nice option. Next, we got the 808 4 Ultra, but I would actually say it's a blend of tier 3 and 2 because the cushion is really soft, but still like really low to the ground and thin. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird because it is full length boom and still soft and bouncy. So it's kind of like tier 3 and tier 2 with still like good cushion, but still being responsive. So I guess it would be a little bit more into, but anyways, 808-4 Ultra is still really nice, amazing traction. Upper is really thin, but also it's a very supportive shoe overall, while still being extremely responsive. So I really like the 808-4 Ultra. And last but not least, in tier 3, we got the Li-Ning JB2. Yeah, you have an amazing stop with the traction. You have really good traction in that shoe, but also the cushion is very soft, but also bouncy. Like, actually I would say it's the bounciest setup on this list. It's really bouncy for the foam, you know what I mean? And also the upper I really like because it's thin yet supportive. So yeah, there is the JB2. All right, now we're moving into tier 2, which is like, it's a blend of, you know, responsiveness, right? Really good core feel while still having pretty dang good cushion. It's like soft for underfoot cushion, still kind of, you know? So it's like a good all-around cushioning setup, right? So let's get it started off with the Anta Zap 1, right? So it's just like the Kai 1, but a little bit more responsive, right? The N2 foam doesn't feel as thick, and also is a little bit more caged in the heel for the actual foam. So it doesn't allow for as much compression, and also it's a little bit better for core feel, I would say. So yeah, the cushion is still extremely nice, and it also still has a soft mesh strobe board. The traction is also really nice, and the upper is really thin, you know what I mean? And it's lighter in weight than the Kai 1. So tier 2, again, like, these are all extremely nice guard shoes. It's just I try to separate it a little bit for you still want a responsive shoe, right? You still want to feel quick, but it just feels a little bit different, you know what I mean? Especially for the cushion. So there is the Zap 1. Next, we got the Big 3 5.0 Quick Pro, right? So the regular Quick is actually really nice, so maybe I'll put it in like tier 1, but the cushion's not super nice, you know what I mean? But the Pro with the full length Quick CQ Tech foam is really nice. Traction is top tier, but also the cushion, you have a nice little bounce, like nice little subtle bounce, and a kind of a soft like underfoot cushion. Of course, not as soft as like the Zap 1 with the soft mesh strobe board, but still pretty nice in the Big 3 5.0 Quick Pro. The upper is extremely thin, but also the overall shoe is really supportive as well, and it's a really lightweight shoe too. So yeah, the Big 3 5.0 Quick Pro, amazing option. Next, we got the 361 degrees DVD2 SE. So the green colorway that I have with the mesh material. The mesh material has really good airflow, so I really like that. And also I really love the cushioning setup, right? So it's using pretty much the same exact setup as a regular DVD2, but they're adding a soft mesh strobe board, which I absolutely love. So the step in comfort and underfoot cushion is greatly improved while still having good core feel. And also you have a little bit of compression because the heel, right, the heel is a little bit exposed on the lateral side, which does feel nice. And also core feel is still really nice. And also the traction is really good. So the DVD2 SE you can't go wrong with. And next, of course, we got the Harden Volume 8. So the traction, amazing. I mean, I would say the Harden Volume 8 is like the heaviest and also bulkiest probably feeling shoe on this list, but it's still really extremely responsive, right? So it's kind of like a blend of tier 2 and 3, but like the cushion for the Harden Volume 8, it's like still really good for core feel. And it's not too soft, you know, especially comparing to like, I don't know, the WoW 11 or the Kawhi 4. The Harden Volume 8 is just a little bit more like a little bit thinner for the foam and a better core feel, but still has nice step and comfort. It's just the overall like midsole that kind of comes up that makes the shoe feel a little bulky, you know what I mean? But still a very responsive shoe and still an amazing guard shoe, right? Next, we got, of course, the GT Cut 3. I kind of wanted to put it in tier 1 because the Zoom X is like, it's still a little stiff, but I would say it's still kind of nice. So I kind of put it in tier 2, right? But of course, the traction is really nice. Also, another thing that I really like about that shoe is that the forefoot is actually springy. It has a good, do I have it right here? It's actually right over here. So overall, it's a really lightweight shoe, but here in the forefoot, it actually has a good amount of, look at that. Kind of like, you see that? So it has a nice little springiness when you're doing a heel dominant strides down the court, you're doing your first step, you know, out of the triple thread and stuff like that. It actually has a good amount of springiness, which does feel really nice. That adds to the overall responsiveness of the shoe too. The only thing I don't like, of course, is the material quality, and the price is really expensive, but I've seen some colorways on sale, so there's that. And last but not least on this list, or this tier, is the Nike Sabrina 2. And also, again, a blend of the first tier and the second tier, because the core feel is extremely good in the Sabrina 2, right? But you still have a pretty good cushion. The cushion line is soft in the heel, a step in comfort, and the underfoot cushioning is still pretty nice, and you have the forefoot zoom in it. The traction, of course, is top tier, and the overall shoe is extremely light. So the Sabrina 2 is kind of a mix of tier 1 and tier 2, but still super duper nice. And now moving on to tier 1, which is like a really responsive shoe. You want very minimal cushion, then this is the tier for you, right? So let's start off with the Nike GT Cut Academy, right? So the GT Cut Academy has a little bit less cushion, of course, than the GT Cut 3 because it's just using Renew foam, bottom loaded forefoot zoom unit. It's still pretty nice, so it's adequate for impact protection, but it's just a little bit more responsive, of course, and the traction is really good. Support overall is really, really great, and it's a very lightweight shoe too. So GT Cut Academy, you can't go wrong with. And also, it's very, very cheap. It's 95 bucks retail, but I've seen some colorways on sale for 70, 75 bucks, and also another 25% off of that, which is insane right now. So GT Cut Academy, you can't go wrong with. Next, of course, we got the Adidas Dawn Issue 6. So it is using Light Strike, right? Light Strike Pro, I believe it was. The underfoot cushion is like pretty stiff, you know what I mean? Especially comparing to, like, I don't know, the Kai 1, Zap 1, Harden Volume 8 and stuff like that. So because of that, I put it in the first tier, although it has a good amount of compression for the actual midsole, but the traction is freaking amazing. And the upper also is really thin and minimal, while also being extremely supportive because of that TPU piece that kind of goes around the entire shoe, right? The laces and around the heel. So the Dawn Issue 6 surprised the hell out of me. It's a really, really nice guard shoe. Next, of course, we got the AE1/AE1 Low, which of course you guys already know. It's an amazing shoe. It's one of my favorite hoop shoes of the past like couple years. So the traction is absolutely amazing. The cushion also is very responsive and low to the ground, while also being like pretty nice for underfoot cushion and adequate for impact protection, right? Also overall very supportive upper and overall supportive shoe, which I do like. You feel extremely quick in that shoe. And next, of course, we got the Rigor AR1. The AR1 is also a really nice guard shoe, really responsive. The traction is one of the best tractions you can get right now. And the cushion also, it's low to the ground, has good court feel, but it's using like a soft mesh strobe board. Even though the foam isn't super soft and super nice, it does improve the step-in comfort just a tiny bit, right? And also the upper is it's actually pretty dang nice for the quality. It retails for 100 bucks, but Rigor actually has it on sale for like 85 bucks right now, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, definitely don't sleep on that shoe. The AR1, really, really nice, very, very responsive. Next, of course, we got the Wade Flash, one of my favorite hoop shoes right now as well, because it is one of the lightest hoop shoes that you can get right now, right? And also one of the most well ventilated shoes that you can get right now. But yeah, the traction is extremely good. It's extremely lightweight, but still doesn't feel super cheap, and also doesn't really sacrifice that much support. Overall support was adequate for me. Of course, it's not as supportive as like, you know, like the AE1, but for me, it was adequate enough, right? The cushion also is pretty dang nice, right? You have really good core feel, but you have still nice compression in the heel, and a pretty nice underfoot cushion because you have the soft mesh strobe board, you know what I mean? So with that, it's still pretty dang soft. It's not super duper soft like the Kai 1, of course, because the core feel is way better, but it's still kind of nice, you know what I mean? And the upper is just so thin, so I really like that shoe. And last but not least, of course, we got the Player 1 Plus, which it can go in any tier because literally you can have whatever cushion that you want. You can have the explosive cushion, which is actually bouncy, and also the support cushion, which is supposed to be a little bit more impact protection, but also that one's still bouncy. And the regular drop-in midsole is also is like tier 2, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not super soft. I would say it's a little bit more responsive, but also you have the quick system with the drop-in, which also is like tier 1, which is really responsive. But also, yeah, the Player 1 Plus, the traction is phenomenal, and the upper is extremely thin, but also the overall shoe is extremely supportive. It reminds you a lot of like the Kobe 11 and also the Kobe 9, right? So I try to divide this list up as best as I could. Of course, every shoe is pretty different in like little different ways, you know what I mean? But yeah, any of these shoes you should be fine, especially if you want if you're a guard and also you want a responsive shoe, you want to feel quick in. It's just the cushion is a little bit different for the tiers, you know? But anyways, I hope this video helped you guys out. And again, if you guys want to copy any of these shoes, I try to leave them feeling in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.